The reason people don't buy your stuff when you're making offers from the stage or even one-on-one, if you haven't gotten over yourself enough to make offers from live stages, is a condition of the mind in your audience called Chronodysopia. So chrono, as in time, in chronological order, chrono. This, as in dysfunctional. Anybody here brought up in dysfunctional families? Dysfunctional. So chrono, this, and then opia, as in myopia, not seeing clearly. So chronodysopia is the inability of your audience to see the impact of their decisions over time when they decide to invest in your offer or not. And the reason this is costing you so much is that you don't know how to present your offers in a way that is in line with human nature. I was speaking with Doctor in the pre-show about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And most people will climb higher mountains to avoid pain than to get gain. So if you fail to present your offer as in the cost that they will encounter and don't talk about the pain that they will avoid if they invest in your offer, you're letting the disease in their mind called chronodysopia, which is the inability to see the impacts of their decisions over time, prevent them from seeing that it's a good idea to give you money to save that pain.
I love it. I love it. I was like digging, Googling, digging.
Yeah.
That's what
Chronodysopia, which is different than rectal myopia, which is another thing. Rectal myopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
Wow, I love it because when I was actually looking at it, I was curious of how you would actually explain that, because a lot of people, like for example, Susanna here, right? She wants to actually have an opportunity to have a speaking gig um, for the stages, and her is always about moving beyond boxes and belonging. That's what we're talking about. Um, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so, having that opportunity, I think it's just having the opportunity and the training on how to present yourself is sometimes lacking, even though you already have the knowledge, right? And I love that you're putting together a template, if you will, and a training, because the template is great, but if you don't train it with the template, it doesn't really work together. So you mentioned, I love this one, that storytelling can increase conversion rates significantly. Can you share an example where a compelling story led to a successful sale?
I was taking notes here because you re-mentioned the hierarchy of needs. If we go into it, I have a simple framework entrepreneurs can use to make sure that their messaging feels like gut punches every time. It's like you nail it every time. But let's get to the other question. An example of a story. There's only one thing that's better than stories when it comes to conversion. We call it money shots. That's demonstration, proof, audience participation elements, anything that makes a loud sound, a prop, an actual thing you have. Okay, that's the only thing better than stories, and stories is better than anything else. And one story used to be good. I don't know if you remember the old days, but there was a time before the internet. I remember that. And most of the speaking systems, the classics, were, built in the 20s and the 50s or so, where back in the day, people used to live their life without 17 tabs open all day, without 5 of their favorite shows at the same time in their mind that they're watching, which each show has the grandma timeline, the future timeline, the past timeline, intertwining stories together, email notifications, a bunch of different Slack channels, everything open at once. People had a little bit less on their mind, more focused. So maybe back in the day, you could get away with one story. Maybe you could. Nowadays, you can't get away with just one. So it's not one story that does the heavy lifting. You got to go one layer deeper and identify the chain of beliefs, the sequence of states that need to happen for a conversion to happen in the mind of your audience. And this sequence of state that need to happen from fear to faith or whatever it is the underlying core influence structure. Now, the stories will serve as points throughout this. So an example of one, which is a story mixed with a demonstration, is we had a guy selling how to meet people, dating advice, dating coaching, dating services in the time of COVID. Now in Canada here, we had, remember that thing? In Canada here, we had government enforced curfews. Past 8 o'clock, you had armed police officers in the street stopping you if you were trying to go anywhere. People couldn't go out. We have pictures of the city, dark, nothing moving. People think it's the end of the world. People don't know when it's going to end and everything's going to be okay again. It's doomsday. And this guy is selling how to meet people. How do you think that's going to go? Okay. People don't want to touch themselves. They don't want to meet strangers. You cannot sell this thing. So how about we use a story? A little something like, I had a thought the other day that most people's love life is kind of like a NASCAR race. Goes around, 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 around. It's always the same. And then they go to the other city for another NASCAR race, another relationship. And it's the same deal, different face. They leave that relationship, go to the other one, another city, same deal, different face. So now that the races are stopped, now that the game is stopped, now is the time to change the tires. Now is the time to fix your inner GPS inside your car that makes you decide who you're with and not. Now is the time to invest inside of yourself, to make better choices in your relationship so that when the racetrack opens again, you can stop running in circles and actually go where you want to go. That's an example. So you take something that's impossible, you frame it in a story with a great demonstration, and people go, oh my God, now is the time to invest in the most important relationship in dating, which is my relationship with myself. Therefore, where do I sign up? And the guy sold over $500,000 in a week with this thing. But that's just one, but that one's not enough. You couple it with when's the best time to invest in the stock market? What's the universal trick? Is it buy low, sell high, or buy high, sell low? It's buy low, sell high. So when everything is in the dumpster,
That's
again, at that moment, people are not believing that it's going to go up again. So what do? You couple it with another story of you go, okay, where's the precedent of this? Well, turns out in the 1920s, there was a thing called the Spanish flu in the States, and people were confined. Same thing. And what happened immediately after that, you had orgies in high society. You had the debauched 20s. So it's like the same thing as if you stop smoking if you stop smoking for a while, anybody struggling with this, my sympathies. When you start smoking again, it's almost as if your brain goes, nice try, big boy. I haven't had my fix for 2 weeks. So for the next 2 months, you're going to smoke a little bit more to give me back my fix that I missed. So if there's no dating, no loving, no getting together for a while, there's always a compensating mechanism that comes right after. So when you combine the proof of the precedent of that slingshot effect, timed with the investing analogy at the right time when everything is low, it's going to get back up, timed with and multiplied by the NASCAR analogy, that's where you have a soup where the cake mix is like, man, this is time to go. Like, where do I sign up? And for those people in the States who are like, ooh, 500K in a week, big wow. This is in French in a market 40 times smaller than the States. So 500,000 multiplied by 40 to give you an order of magnitude. That's like a $20 million launch in the States, based on the back of 3 analogies properly timed. So when you talk about storytelling, that's what I mean.
I love it. It took me a while. I have leveled up for almost 3 years now, I think, starting on podcasts, and people keep telling me no, so I keep opening. So I wanted to be on magazine. They're like, it costs this much. I'm like, okay, let me start my own magazine. Well, I want to be on TV. It's going to be $60,000. Ugh, okay, I'll start my own TV. So I did. So anything that I said no, I will do it. But it took me a while to literally tell my story, right? I started Level Up not because I wanted to add another logo to my resume. I have 13 or 14 pages of my resume already. I don't need another logo. But because I was tired of watching brilliant people, entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, immigrants sit on the sideline while less talented, louder folks took the spotlight. I saw heart centered experts like hiding behind self doubt, overthinking, and over planning themselves right into visibility. And guess what? No one's coming to hand you your mic, guys. No one's Googling your genius if you're not out there owning your space. So I built Level Up Academy as a rebellion, a stage for the underestimated, the over delivering, and the I don't fit the mold disruptors. We're not here to teach you how to look perfect. We're here to teach you how to show up imperfectly powerful, boldly visible, and unapologetically you. That's why I started Level Up, right? And so when people question it, I'm like, dude, that's my heart. That's my heart you're questioning. So I love that. So, oh man, I don't want to end this conversation. It's a good conversation. Let me see. Now, I actually, hold on one second. This one of my friends actually wanted me to ask you this. In your experience, does confidence come before taking the stage, or is it built during the act of speaking? How can you cultivate it effectively?
It depends on who we're talking about. We've helped people from 18 to 81 years old get over stage fright. The fastest was 6 seconds. The longest takes a few weeks. So when you talk about stage confidence, it depends. Are we talking about a person who, in private, in person, at a dinner table with their family, is confident, full of life, can tell jokes and stories, and is entertaining and is vibrant, has a sense of focus outside themselves, can be present and calibrate people as they're talking to them, but when they get on stage, they bleed power and they lose all sense of self and they shrink into a smaller version of themselves. Well, that's not the same cure. If I'm the public speaking doctor, I'm with doctor here. I don't prescribe the same cure to that person, to somebody who cannot even be at ease at a family barbecue, who's shriveled in the corner looking down and can't distinguish between what somebody says and what has no bearing with reality. That's not the same thing. So when people say, how do I become confident on stage? Step one is, are you confident in real life? That's bottom line, because that's totally different. I've seen one of the things that got me started on this thing. I used to be, well, I have songs on the radio. I play music and stuff. And I used to be hired as a corporate entertainer. So I've done this on multiple continents and 35 countries. And one of the questions that got me thinking was like, why do most speeches suck so bad? And it's not just in the States or in Canada. You go to any country and somebody goes out and does a speech, it's the bar is low. It's terrible. Most speeches suck bad. So I'm backstage with the CEOs, the person that hires us, the boss, the VP, the president, something like that. We're vibing backstage. These people have a gaze, like, don't mess around with me, gaze. Fully confident, commands attention, not messing around. You feel their presence. They got heft. Okay, they're there. They're looking at you. They say something and they calibrate you. How do you respond to that? Master negotiators, master one-on-one, but they suffer from office-itis, which means your energy bubble is the size of your office. Okay. But then I would see them, this confident person, transform into a smaller version of themselves off to the stage. I would see them walk to the stage and go like this. Hello, everybody. And then they would read their terrible script with no delivery. And the only reason people would not leave the house was because they'd get fired because that's the boss.
True.
And I was thinking, what is this? After helping people from 18 to 81 years old get over stage fright, traumatic experiences, often during childhood or school specifically, basically a trauma is something that does not complete a cycle. It's just something that stops and then it just freezes in place. And sometimes people make decisions about themselves at that moment in time. So you got somebody at 7 years old makes a decision like, I suck. I'm not good at this. Establishes a fact of life. Well, I got proof now, so it's a fact. I suck at this. I'll never be able to. Freezes in place. Now, the person grows up to be a tall, beautiful person with intelligence and degrees. We work with a coach, a 69-year-old coach that had physically more diplomas that her wall could physically handle. The diplomas would not all fit on the wall, people. More diplomas than the size of the wall. And you know what the feeling is? Just one more course. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. I got everything. Just one little bit. Now I'm going to. There's always something.
That's me. I'm working on 3.
So that person came to one seminar, a weekend. She went live on social media on Tuesday. Let's take a poll on YouTube and Facebook. I love you, YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, everybody. By the way, shout out to Mike. If you see this, Mike's awesome. If you don't know Mike, the redneck connector with the beautiful hat, cool guy. This person went live on Tuesday. For how long do you guess? Type it in the chat somewhere. 3 hours. Without a script. Live on social media, not a tech expert. Flicked on the phone, live for 3 hours, and 70% of the people listening, 10 people, so 7 people. It's not like she's Oprah or anything. 70% of the room signed up for bi-weekly sessions with her. Her first time live, 3 hours without a script. So what happens is that people, grown adults, when they go into that situation, it's contextual framing. It's situational awareness. Oh, I'm about to speak on public. They remember, oh yeah, I suck at this. I'm no good. So now to be congruent with their decisions, they shrink into a smaller version of themselves and you can see them shrinking and they bleed power, status, influence, torque, and presence on their way to the stage. So we got to fix that.